So I'm Amy Van Antwerp. I'm the Vice Chair of the Meridian Township Parks Commission, and we will officially get started here at 5:03 p.m. Approval of, well, I guess I need to do a roll call. Mary Ferris, Mark Stevens.
Hello.
Amanda Lick. I believe she'll be coming about 5:30, as well as Mike McDonald.
Yeah.
Okay. Approval of the agenda. Has everyone had a chance to review it? Any additions or changes?
I move to approve if there aren't any changes from you guys.
I'll second that.
Okay. And presentations. I assume that's public presentations, right?
Yeah, we don't really have any presentations
Okay.
tonight. So we're on to public comment.
Okay. Do we have any public comment? I don't know. I think Charles is here not as public comment. He's here on one of the agenda items, correct?
Correct.
And technically, probably here, I'm the only who would qualify as public comment, and I have none. Sorry to interrupt.
Okay, no,
Okay.
thank you, Stephen.
And then approval of the minutes from the December 8th, 2020 meeting.
I move to approve the minutes from December 8th.
Yeah, I'll support.
All right, thank you. And then next is communications. We're going to review the Parks and Recreation Department annual report that Luann provided earlier today.
Yeah, I need you to go back just a tad, and I know it's just a formality, but we need to vote on the minutes.
Oh,
We just need to
Okay.
take the action.
all right. Is everybody in favor of approving the December 8th, 2020 minutes?
Yes.
Please say aye.
Aye.
Great. Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, for the communications, I included our department's annual report. And I don't think we need to really go through it, but you will be discussing some of that tonight at the joint meeting with the township board. So anyway, I think personally, even with COVID, we had a pretty great year.
Yeah.
Projects
So-
and visitation.
Yeah, our parks were like beloved. Parks and trails, and then our projects. And the senior center did a nice job of, keeping connected to the seniors during all of this time. And, the only thing that really suffered was our youth and adult sports programs, but dog parks, pickleball, a lot of things were really great. So the annual report is available online on the township website.
There were people playing pickleball, Luann, this morning.
I'm like,
Really?
They shoveled the walks, or they shoveled the court off, and then they were playing pickleball. These people are nuts.
So I was going to say, no matter when I've driven by at Slowbrook, there are people playing at least one
It's
court
great.
full. Yeah, wonderful.
Great to see that. You can tell it's cold because when they hit the ball, it sounds like it's cracking. Yeah.
yeah, they've played right up probably until the snowfall today. And I've
Yeah,
even
well,
seen, I saw a
They were
picture
there
where they
this
put,
morning walking the dog.
yeah, a snow blower out there to clear it off. So good for them.
Yeah,
Well, they certainly showed us their passion earlier this summer.
Sure.
So that was nice to meet them all.
Yeah.
Anything else on the annual report?
No, but I would like to mention that Commissioner McDonald is on the phone and he's listening into this meeting because he's having difficulties joining the Zoom. But he's
Okay.
here. He's here in spirit, and he can hear us and
Okay,
add comment.
welcome. We're glad to have you here.
welcome, Mike.
Yeah, welcome, Mike.
Okay, we'll move on to the director's report. Luann?
Okay. Here, hang on. Mike, did you have something you wanted to add?
A pickleballer mentioned to me once, and I went by and saw it. Next time we have a plowable snowstorm, which would be today and tomorrow, could the gang try not to go straight south with the blade? Because Mark probably has noticed that they actually dug a path through the snowbank.
Well, really?
Yeah, do you understand what I'm saying, Mark? You know what I mean there?
Yeah, they don't want, yeah, I think they got an entrance there, so they don't have to walk over the snowbank to get to the courts. I think when they're plowing the parking lot, to not push it to where they dug it out.
That's exactly it. And,
Yeah.
and the person was very respectful, and, you know, the plowers might be doing it at 5 in the morning and things like that. Just, you know, if you could pass that on to the boss there, Luann.
Will do.
Yeah,
That's
they
it.
probably don't think people are out there playing pickleball when it's snowing, you know.
And they sure are. 'Cause they were out there yesterday.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I just have a couple of things to add for the staff report today is, you know, we had the Eagle Scout build the footbridge in Hillbrook Park. And
Yep.
for some reason, I must have left my staff report on the printer at the office, but there was a woman who was so appreciative of the effort and the work that was done that she donated $100
Wow.
to the Park Commission for use in future Eagle Scout projects, because she was so impressed
Wow.
with this young man's job. And I'm trying to think, it was, what was his name? Andrew
Andrew Yeoman?
Stevenson, something
Oh.
Stevenson.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeoman or something like
Yom,
that.
yeah, exactly. But, you know, I think we've all talked at previous meetings too about how great that boardwalk was, and that woman was so appreciative. She donated $100. So we do have a little fund available if there's a future Eagle Scout who needs a little financial assistance with their project.
Yeah, I think that's my neighbor that donated that, and
Oh,
she walks the property all the time. She was working from home, and she says it's great to be able to just get out and walk, and you know,
Sure.
the 2 bridges and to see everything that's going on in Hillbrook. That it's really nice. So
well,
appreciate
great.
all the work you guys are doing, and that the Parks Department is doing for Hillbrook. It's great.
Yeah, you know, and I would like to give a little shout out to our Parks and Grounds maintenance crew. They, and I know when you read through the staff report, or I mean, the annual report, if you had a chance to do that already, but there were a lot of improvements made at Harris Nature Center with painting, and they replaced the fencing around the pond. They installed the sidewalk leading up to the large dog park. They installed the drinking fountain at the large dog park. The art mural at the dog park. At Marketplace on the Green, they installed all the site furnishings. They've been doing such a great job this year of, instead of contracting out, we've been doing a lot of that work in-house, and they've done a fabulous job. And I just really want to give them the kudos for that. And then one other mention is the progress with the deer management program. Starting in September, we had the archery program. Last year, we were able to call, I believe it was 87 deer. And this year, there's been extra emphasis on the program. The township board allocated additional funds to help move the program forward. We were able to buy a cooler, and which has helped tremendously, but they ended up taking 176 deer this year. And the Sportsmen Against Hunger paid for the processing on all of those deer. And we donated over 2,400 pounds of venison to local food banks through the program.
Wow.
So it has been a banner year. We had 75 hunters participate in the program, and very appreciative of all of their efforts. Now, there is an extended hunt taking place currently utilizing our police department on just a few properties. Many of them are private properties with private property owners' approval. And they're using firearms at night, very similar to the sharpshooters that were in with the USDA back in 2018. So they have 150 permits to fill. And that's what they're working on right now. And that program is going to go through mid-March unless they fill those permits earlier than that. So their main focus is to reduce the car deer accident. We also had picked up, I believe the number was 75 roadkill deer from September through January 1 as well.
That's a lot. Actually,
Yeah, so there's quite a few deer out there, and we're not eradicating the deer by any means. There's plenty to go around, but this management program is really important for the health of the deer as well as the health of our parks and preserves and all of our neighborhood vegetation. So I think I will conclude my staff report with there. Thank you.
I just had a quick question about the donation. Did we communicate that back to the Eagle Scout just to let him know that bit of appreciation, or was he involved
I
in
have
that?
not, but I will.
Okay, it might be
I will do
something that would mean a lot to him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was actually talking about, since he didn't spend any of the funds, or he didn't need to, that he was going to donate back to
That's right.
the Parks Department after he did his plaque. He was going to use some funds for that and then donate the rest back to what we were talking about, the fund for future Eagle Scout projects. So I don't know if he's done that yet, or it doesn't sound like it.
No, I haven't seen that yet, but I do remember him saying that.
Great. Okay, we'll move on to our first action item, which is the Wanch Park use request.
At your previous meeting in December, we had guests from the Ingham County Drain Commissioner's Office. And there is a request, and Charles Smith with Spicer Group. And they have a request to utilize Wanch Park as part of their program where they're removing dead trees and limbs in the Red Cedar River. And they were requesting the use of Wanch Park as an access point. And I believe I sent you a lot of information. I know Commissioner Stevens met with them on site, and I think I'll just turn this over to Mark right now and see if there's anything that you would like to share with the rest of the group, Mark.
Well, no, we met out there. It was a beautiful day. We got there a little early. It was still dark. So I didn't think they thought about the time, because I think we were going to meet at like 7:15 or 7:30, and it was black when we got to the park. So it was hard to see those log jams, but we waited for a while, and it was a nice little walk. We went to both places at the property that we have for land preservation there on what's the name of that road?
Hamilton.
Yeah, Hamilton Road. And we went to see the log jams, and saw that they were something that are pretty serious, and so that we checked that out, and then we walked a little bit into Ferguson as well, and looked at a couple of trees that weren't really thought about, but they were in the water and could float very easily down in high water. So they're going to take a look at those and get rid of those. But it's definitely something that I felt really comfortable with what Charles was talking about, and how necessary it's going to be for that. So it's definitely creating some more erosion along a bank when you have that blocking the way. It changes the water velocity in different places and cut into banks and things like that. So I think, and they also have some ideas of maybe taking down some that may be going in, that are on the precipice of going into the water. So sounds like they have their act together. Right, Charles?
I think that was an excellent summary. I just want to add one thing, that we are permitted to Okemos Road as our upstream extent right now. So the Ferguson Park extension is a factor of if we can get a permit revised.
Didn't catch all of that.
Hey, you're
I think
Sounds like
we
you're
lost
breaking
you.
up a little bit.
My apologies. Can you hear me better now?
Yes.
Yeah.
So our permit is to Okemos Road as the upstream extent currently. And the Ferguson Park addition is a factor if we can get the Eagle permit extended upstream, which I don't foresee being an issue, and we will pursue it, but it's not currently in our extent works. We're asking for permissions to utilize Ferguson Park as well as Wanch Park, with the anticipation that we won't have any hiccups achieving extended permit.
I believe I shared with the commission, there were 2 maps that were forwarded to me, and I forwarded them on to you with the areas of where they're looking at utilizing Wanch Park. It seems to be around obviously the river's edge. There's also a property access agreement form that they're looking for authorization for me to sign on your behalf, allowing them use of this property. And now let me read to you. It says permission to enter the property to access Red Cedar River for the removal of log jams, restoration of bank erosion, and restoration of access areas, survey, staking, and documenting of activities, on-site observation and oversight of activities, and other purposes required by law. The existing pathway that we have inside the park will be protected, because I did have a concern with that. And any damage to our property is covered by the contractor for repair. Charles, is that about all that? Anything else you need to add?
No, I think that was pretty accurate. Any disturbed areas will be repaired under the contract. So,
Okay, and then the other thing, just so everyone's aware, they're requesting use from now until August 1st of 2025. So Charles, you think this is going to be an ongoing activity?
the reason we're asking for the the access agreement to go till 2025 is because that's when we're permitted through for Eagle. It is 5-year access or 5-year permit. So we're anticipating that additional logs may accumulate, but we'll have to go through a process and notify the township once again if we choose to come back next year, depending on if any additional debris from the floodplain shelf or upstream drip downstream into this vicinity.
For this first project that you're working on, what's the timeline, you think? How long was that going to take? When do you plan on starting, and how long do you think it'll take?
We are planning to start as soon as we have acquired all landowner access agreements. Other than the 2 parks here, we're at 4 access agreements are still pending. And we would like to be out of there before March 31st of 2021, when we're going to start losing our solid frozen ground conditions.
Okay.
Are we then?
I think Mary had a question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Is that okay, Amy? I have a quick
Oh,
question. Charles, is that the time of year you would typically take the logs out? Is when the ground's frozen?
Yes, yes. And the reason is it's easier to access the log jams if the floodplain shelf is frozen over. In this instance, the Red Cedar River has relatively high banks, so there isn't a lot of inundated area. But we won't have to mat over wetlands if the ground's frozen because there's no compaction of soil and issues like that. It's the most cost-effective time to get log jams out of the river.
So that makes a lot of sense. Unless it's an emergent or emergency issue, then you probably wouldn't be in there during our prime user season anyway.
Correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
Hey, Charles, have you already had your, you already have your contractor picked out? Are you bidding that somewhere, or?
It will most likely be TL Contracting out of Lansing.
Okay.
We've done another project with them, Sycamore Creek log jam removal, which was started in 2018, and we've cleared, I want to say, 2 to 3 miles of the Sycamore Creek now.
Yeah.
Been fairly satisfied with the work. Impact has been minimal, and they have now more or less mastered the technique to get in and remove logs without disturbing the adjacent properties.
That's great. It's good to know. Yep.
Okay, well, I think we need a motion to approve the property access agreement with Ingham County Drain Office for activities from today, which is January what is today, the
26,
26th
26.
through August 1st of 2025 for the purpose of removing log jams in the Red Sea River.
I move to enter into that agreement.
I second that motion.
Okay, everybody in favor, say aye.
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 Okay.
Okay. I see the thumbs up from Mike, so I'm taking that as a yes. So the motion passes.
Yes.
Great. Thank you for your time, Charles, and attending 2 meetings and meeting with Mike. On
Mike,
behalf,
I think you're muted. You're muted, Mike.
maybe he didn't want to say anything. I was just
No,
thinking.
he was saying something. That's why I
Oh, he was?
telling him that.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Well, you're very welcome, and thank you for the cooperation.
Okay, feel free to keep us posted on any activities. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to call.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Charles.
Hey, one more thing, Mike, I've got you on the line here. If there's anything you wanted to add.
No,
Okay,
I'll just try and get my picture back, but thank you for picking the phone up.
you bet.
Okay. Sorry, I'm flipping back and forth on this PDF and I'm losing track. And then Mary, I missed your hand up earlier, so I apologize about that.
Oh, no, that's good.
We're not quite till 5:30 yet and Amanda hasn't joined us. Could we skip to E before we do C and D? Because it might be nice to have Amanda here for setting our schedule as well as the election of officers.
Sure. Typically, the appointment to the Land Preservation Board is by the chair.
Oh, okay. Well, let's just skip the
but-
rest of 8 and we'll go right to 9, which is discussion items.
Well, we don't have any. We're really about done with our meeting. We kept it brief because of the joint meeting at 6 o'clock. But I would like to share that the farmers market has continued to be successful and is continuing outdoors in the wintertime on the first and third Saturdays of the month from now through April from 11 until 1. So it's a 2-hour market, but I think we have 25 vendors committed
Wow.
to those dates for the winter time. So I'm going to go look at purchasing a couple of space heaters, the tall ones, the propane
ones, yeah.
heaters. So I don't know how much good it will do, but maybe provide a little bit of heat for some of those folks. But I think we can talk about a little bit about the meeting dates. Maybe have some discussion. We've with COVID at this point, what I spoke with Chair Lick and came to the conclusion that for now, we'll just schedule all of the meetings via Zoom until we see something relaxed where we can get together. And so all the meetings are scheduled via Zoom at 6 o'clock on the second Tuesday of each month, which is what's outlined in your bylaws. So that is how we're moving forward. In speaking with her, she suggested that we do not meet in April. April is a more difficult month based on spring break with those of you with school children. And then the other one is in December because of the rush with holidays, and those could be called as needed. So what the schedule here is for 10 months on the second Tuesday of the month, meeting at 6 o'clock. We can always amend that throughout the year. We can add work sessions, or if we need to cancel a meeting here or there or change a location. All of those are options for us moving forward. But we do need to set a schedule for the year to be posted on the township's website.
So we went away from the Zoom at noon to go to Zoom at 6? Because in the minutes that we agreed to, it was that it was Zoom at noon,
Right.
except for 3 or 4 of them.
There's a ring to it. Zoom it.
Zooms at noon are great with me. You're not going to get any complaints here. And, you know, the other thing is we could still Zoom at noon, and if needed, set another meeting if there was something that needed to be done, have a little more extended conversation. But most of our meetings are an hour or less, I would think.
Luann,
Not
did,
typically, only the last couple of meetings.
Depends how much we have to talk about, I
I
guess.
mean, if I'm chairing the meeting temporarily, they seem to go fast. Just kidding.
So
Hi,
really,
Mary, go ahead.
it's really up to you. We could set this meeting now and then revisit it again if we want to change it, or, you know, Vice Chair Van Antwerp, we can certainly still hang on and wait for Chair Lick to join this meeting to have a greater discussion. I'm absolutely fine with that. I
Okay,
was
I
just trying to
think
provide.
Mary had a
Sammy,
comment.
I just had a quick question, Luann. Did Amanda have some reason she wanted to switch the meetings to 6 o'clock versus noon?
I don't recall, other than I think maybe she thought our noon meeting, the one we did have, felt a little rushed. But I think she's open to the noon meetings.
I'm good with either. I was just curious. I
Okay.
thought maybe she had some reason that she needed to change. There's pros and cons to both times.
Sure. When, Mary, when we meet via Zoom, is that easier? I know in the summer you like to travel. You have a place up north. Would Zooming be easier for you, or really it doesn't matter?
It's
one way?
fine. As long as I know the dates, I can work around it usually, but if you're okay with Zooming, that's fine. I think the rest of this year remains to be seen, but I did like the opportunity we had during the summer to possibly meet in person at a distance, primarily
Right.
for other people, not so much for us, I guess.
And I just want you to know today, because the joint meeting's at 6 o'clock, it was, I don't want to say impossible, but it would have been very difficult to be over Zoom live. So we are being recorded for replay. So the public will see this meeting. They're just not seeing it live.
Any other comments or questions
yeah.
about the schedule? I can go either way. I know the one time we did meet at noon, I just happened to have, my daughter had a doctor's appointment at 1:15, and that's why I was in a rush, but I could certainly block my calendar if needed. But 6 works as well. So I really don't have a preference either way. Whatever works best for the group and for the community, I think is good.
The
I
only
mean, the thing
issue,
with Zo-
if we got back to normal and we're able to do in-person things, noon will be a problem for me with my
Yeah.
job, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be something like that for this summer. It's possible that we'll be opening it up and we'll be having in-person things, but that's when my fingers are crossed. But other than that, I'm open.
Yeah, I agree. If we went back to in person, I think I would want to probably do evening meetings because of my job as well.
Right.
I had another question, just going back a little bit about the farmer's market. So I know the market's likely outdoors because of COVID, but it also was this, the year that the new market opened. Next year, let's just say everything's back to normal. Do you see the vendors wanting to stay outdoors?
I
Do they
think
like
so.
that?
I
mean,
think so. We've never done this outdoor market. This is going to be a good test for us, but I know there are other communities who have markets outdoors in the wintertime, Ann Arbor for one.
Yeah.
But I see us maybe amending our pavilion a tad with some, maybe some side
Windbreak.
panels of some
Windbreaks,
sort of,
yeah.
plastic panels or visqueen. I see us maybe making some amendments, but I know the vendors appreciate backing in, setting up their booth instead of, hauling everything in and out of the mall. And I don't think, our COVID situation is going to go away here in the near future. So, I see this year, probably next year, and it could be forever.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice to get outside and do something, and
It
have
goes
a
right
purpose.
along with being a farmer's market. That's why I was curious if it was something that the vendors were like, wow, we were kind of forced into this situation, but now it works really well. And
Yeah, and from a safety perspective, they want to be outdoors. They were not interested in going indoors yet. So
Looks like Commissioner Chair Lick joined us, so you can. I'm gonna pass the reins over to you. We essentially have gotten through pretty much all the way through 10, but we still wanted to talk about the meeting schedule and the election of officers when you were here.
Wonderful. Hi, everyone.
hi.
Hello.
Geez, you were speedy tonight. That's great. All right. So, Luann, what do you think we should focus on? You want to do? I heard a little bit of discussion about the meeting agenda. Does it sound like you were having a discussion around like evening versus lunchtime, and does it sound like, where was the consensus? Where did you all fall?
From what I hear, I didn't see any opposition to the noon time. And I couldn't remember. I know you and I chatted about it. And was there a reason that was difficult for you?
Oh, no, I just think that as long as I have it in advance and it's on my calendar, it should be fine. I mean, at the end of the day, there are some times like tonight where work unfortunately becomes an issue at the last minute, but usually and typically I manage my own calendar. It's just there are times when I get called into something that I can't avoid, but it will definitely make noon meetings work. I think the time constraint is a little, I don't know if we're able to do it in an hour. That's great for like those meetings where we might not have as long of an agenda. That would be good. Because I know it would be a challenge if we went beyond that. I would just maybe want to plan for that in advance. How does that work for others?
I'm good either way.
Flexible, yeah. I do though, I mean, looking back at the time that I've been on the commission, there have been times where we've needed at least a couple hours. That would be the only drawback, because that gets tricky with the people that are working
Yeah.
from home or from the office. Either way would be hard to be away that long. So
What does everyone think about maybe every other meeting being a noon meeting, and then maybe that way in advance we'd know, we'd have maybe a lighter schedule, or we could load things up in the evenings if we knew that the next meeting was going to be an evening meeting, or every 2 meetings. What do we think about that?
I like that.
It could be. I kind of like the idea of the same time, just
Okay.
for planning purposes, but I am absolutely flexible on that. I think what we talked about that you probably heard, Amanda, is when we get to in-person, if we're able to get to anything in person or have guests that aren't part of a work situation, that probably a noon meeting doesn't work as well. But
Yeah, I think
sounds like we're all pretty flexible.
okay.
Can I throw out maybe something to consider is maybe all meetings through like July 13th could be noon via Zoom, since we know those are going to be Zoom. And then maybe we'll be moving outdoors to some distance things for the second half of the year. I don't know. I'm just trying to throw out some thoughts for consideration, because we will probably need a work session or two. I know we need to talk about grant applications if we're interested in submitting anything this year. I know I had forwarded something via email for consideration. And then also our 5-year Parks and Recreation Master Plan expires this year. So, we may spend some of our summer evenings maybe out in the parks or in different neighborhoods and invite people in and have some conversations to get their thoughts and ideas. So, but I think through the winter months, at least, Zoom for sure. And then it's really just up to the time factor of what's best for you. Because I'm open, whatever. I'm here for you.
I like the idea of kind of taking it chunk by chunk, Luann. I think that makes sense. And if everybody's okay with it, maybe we just take this first chunk, we have them at noon. So that way it kind of meets the needs of Mary's, having it consistent for a while. It also meets my need too of having it consistent, and also Amy and I can do it during work hours. And then I think the challenge is really, as a working mom, I'm just going to put it out there, and trying to do this on top of everything in the evening has been, when you're on Zoom all day and then you're trying to Zoom at night when your kids are done with school and like need dinner. I mean, it's hard. It's a challenge. So I'd like to just keep Zooming during the day and Zoom through lunch and be done at 5 if possible. But I think that might meet the needs of our group if we could do it that way.
How do you do that with the kids at school? Do you have enough broadband to be able to do
Oh, yeah.
Zooming at school and Zooming for your work and all that?
I upped that. Oh my goodness, Mark. I upped that in August in preparation because we have 6 people here
Right.
schooling. And so, and my work, yeah, I'm on meetings all day online and I don't have any problem. So yeah, I think
Well,
that,
it's good that the kids are old enough and be independent enough to not need your help while you're at home so that you could do a noon meeting, you know, because I can't imagine having my kids at home and doing what you guys are doing. Yeah, it would be hard.
it's a challenge. That doesn't mean that you won't see a little head, you know, come on the screen occasionally, right, Amy?
Jeez.
That's right. I warned my kids tonight. I'm like, don't come in here. I'm like, they're recording that, so stay away. Well, I'll make a motion that we hold our commission meetings at noon via Zoom through, did you say June?
Yeah, through June.
And then we'll switch them to 6 o'clock for the remainder of the year. And obviously we can make changes if needed.
I support that.
I agree.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay,
Great.
motion passes. All right, so
Mike have his hand up?
Mike, did you have your hand up?
No, I was saying yes.
Okay,
Aye.
perfect, thank you. All right, so then,
Mary has her hand up.
oh, hi,
I
Mary.
mean, I have a quick clarification. Are we still not having meetings in April and December then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct.
I've got it down. I just want to make sure I
Yep.
have it down right. Thank you.
I'll add that.
I hope that was okay with everyone. It just kind of gives a break in the calendar during certain times of the year when we don't have too much going on. And those seem to be, according to when Luann and I chatted, seem to be the time periods of the year that we typically cancel a meeting or so. Okay. Okay. And I know we've got only a few minutes, well, 15 minutes left before we have to join the joint meeting. So then we'll move on to, did you cover all of the action items other than the election of officers and the approval of the meeting?
Yeah, the election of officers and then the liaison to land preservation reappointment
Okay.
or
perfect.
appointment or reappointment, depending on how it goes.
Okay. And the election of officers, Luann, that doesn't have to be in a closed session at all.
No, no.
Okay. Okay, so how would we like to do this? Would anybody like to motion to support the election of a chair and vice chair?
I would support that.
You'd like to, okay. Mary, would you like to make a motion?
Do you want me to name an individual or individuals? Yes, I'd like to move to support Commissioner Lick as chairman. And do you want vice chair also?
Yes,
And
please.
and for Amy for vice chair. I like the idea of consistency unless there's some reason either one of you are not interested or can't do that, or anybody else has a desire to jump in.
I support those.
Okay,
We appreciate your leadership.
thank
Both
you.
of you.
Yes.
Thank you. It's so much fun to lead this group. And It's just such a pleasure to work with you all. So thank you so much. So do we need all those in favor for that?
Yes.
Okay, so all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? Okay, Mary, your motion passes. Thank you so much.
You are welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, and then we'll move to the motion to the liaison to the Land Preservation Advisory Board, which, if it's okay, am I allowed to start a motion, Luann? Okay, I'd like to motion that Mark Stevens, Commissioner Stevens continues to be the liaison to the Land Preservation Advisory Board for the same reasons that Mary mentioned earlier, for consistency. And he does just such a wonderful job working with that group and has for a long time.
I second that motion if Mark agrees.
I'll serve at the pleasure of the chair.
Okay.
Okay.
But unless there's somebody else that would like to try their hand,
Okay.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, well, you do a wonderful job and we're just grateful to have you serve. So thank you so much. So all those in favor of supporting the motion for liaison to Land Preservation Advisory Board, Mark Stevens, say aye.
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 Aye. And any opposed? Okay. All right, it looks like we're all done. Luann, anything else that we need to cover that I missed?
I don't think so, other than, I just think that, going back to their annual report on how much that the Park Commission has so much to be proud of with the addition of the large dog park. I believe we've sold 230 memberships to the large dog park. We get calls every single day of people wanting to join. We had to buy more fobs because we ran out. Small dog park is still very popular. Our pickleball courts, which are new last year, very popular. The Harris Nature Center is getting some great additions with the pavilion and the restroom building that'll be available year round. The Harris Nature Center Foundation funded a bird overlook out on the trail system with spotting binoculars. These are things that, and then of course, Marketplace on the Green, for heaven's sakes, that there's just generations of people who are going to be enjoying these facilities forever, and you have really been the ones to initiate and make all that happen. So I just think even with COVID and then our renewed interest in our parks and land preserves and trails, our community, I think, really embraces what's going on here in the community, and your leadership has been very important in that. So I think with that, we need to think of closing our meeting soon, so you have a chance to maybe get a drink of water before we have to hop on the next meeting.
Luann, I just want to say on behalf of the commission, it is an absolute pleasure to work with you and your staff. And we've had to navigate a challenging time this year and trying to, make sense of different orders and, just restrictions. And I think that we've handled it as best as we possibly could. And I just want to thank you and your staff so much, because there's no way that we could be reporting out on so many wonderful things without the efforts of you and your team. So
thank you. And I do have a great team. They are rock stars, all of them.
Really do.
Here, here.
Really do.
Yeah, here, here.
I echo
Especially
that.
in a time when our parks are in more demand than ever.
Yeah.
People are out in our parks to be safe, which
Right.
is away from COVID, and like you said, our numbers are up, except for maybe our coordinated, staffed games and, adult and, youth organized teams. People are out in our parks like crazy. I had a question. Is the dog park open now? The large dog park? I had a question, but I thought so. And I said, yes.
Yes.
But yeah, I should have asked first, but I thought that it was. Yeah.
I see people there every time I drive by. It could be
Me too.
windy, it could be raining. It doesn't matter. People are there. I always look.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
They turned out, both of them I thought turned out really great.
What are your numbers at the small dog park?
I think we're near 300 on the small dog park.
Okay.
Oh, you would think it would be smaller.
Ha ha. Well, thank you to this wonderful commission for all your hard work. And I think it's just going to be great to present everything that we've done this year together as a team tonight on the joint board and commission meeting. And just look forward to all the work that we're going to do together this year. So thank you so much. And we will close the meeting and see you all soon.